on, everybody? Happy Aloha Thursday. Welcome to the Hawaii Fishing Gear Show. In case you don't know, we're High Fish Gear, highfishgear.com, tackle shop here in Ewa Beach. Some people have been asking, are you guys at the new store yet? No, we're not at the new store. We have set a date for the opening when we start doing business over there, July 1st. July 1st is the date. We were hoping to get it in earlier, but decided, you know what? We're just going to take our time, do things right. And July 1st, we will be operating at the new location across the street. I'm pointing that way because that's where it is. If you guys got questions about fishing, drop them in the comments right now while I'm live. I'll do my best to respond to all the questions that come in. And like I always say, if you guys are watching later in the day and you got questions, drop them in the comments. We do our best to cycle through all the comments on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We try to answer them all. All right. Let's see. Also want to announce June 14th and 15th at the Blaisdell. They're doing an outdoors expo. There's going to be some four-wheel drive trucks on display. I was looking at some of the companies that are going to be there. Battery Bill is going to be right next to us. I'm going to definitely get a picture with Battery Bill because I'm not Battery Bill. But it should be pretty fun. We got Major Craft's going to be with us in the booth. They want to show you guys some of their rods, and hopefully we'll have some rods for sale. We're going to be making custom fishing hats and shirts, including, I think I'm wearing the Father's Day shirt. The special Father's Day shirt that we only drop one time a year. We'll be making them at the expo. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and check and see what kind of questions we got on Instagram. Let's see. We are doing an auction at 4 o'clock. It's 3:26, so I wanted to give you guys a full 30 minutes today. All right, YouTube and Facebook, drop some questions in the comments or just say how's it. I want to make sure all the chat is working on that side. And let's go ahead and scroll through. I saw some questions posted on Instagram. What series Noel is best recommended for slide bait? Slide bait, we posted a poll on our story on Instagram, and we wanted to find out what people's take on the greatest of all time slide bait reel, and pretty much everybody voted for it was kind of a close bid or close poll, but the Noel P Series 550 got more votes than the Trinidad, the Gold 50. I would recommend, if you want to get a Noel for slide bait, try to get yourself a S or a P 550, not a 533, not a 540. Get yourself the 550, spool that bug up with 80-pound test. There you go. Somebody's saying, how's it? Okay, and somebody says, where is the new store going to be? Across our street in the same building. It's the Ewa Beach Shopping Center. Where Shiro's is, where McDonald's is, where Texaco is, on that side of the road, in between Locomoco and Mr. Hot Dog, where First Hawaiian Bank used to be. It's the same unit as the old First Hawaiian Bank. You know, I was actually in the electronics room today at the shopping center. I was trying to get some meter numbers for our unit, and it was like a time capsule for all those guys from Ewa Beach. They have still written on the electrical box, Barney's, Phil's Variety, and they even had Sloop John B. I grew up in Ewa Beach, so you see, I saw the evolution from the bowling alley time to now, and it's actually kind of an honor to be at the shopping center, to be able to build up a business big enough to move into the shopping center. Somebody says, where's Wallace? He is watching a register right now. We're a little short-staffed this week, so he's covering the register. What's a good and cheap Ulua setup, reel and pole? If you're looking for the conventional rod setup, I say the cheapest is going to be a Penn Battalion 2 Ulua pole, which I think is $210, and get yourself a Jigmaster spooled up with 50-pound test. That's probably going to be the cheapest off-the-shelf combo you can get. All right. Do you ever continue production of the double duty bombs? You know what? We made the doo-doo heads, the dual duty heads, One size was a cup face, one size was a jerkbait size, a jerkbait lip. We released them. They were meant to pair with flies and stuff. We didn't get a whole lot of catch pictures, you know. A lot of people were really enjoying them, like using them, and they loved the action in the water. It did everything it was supposed to on paper. It just didn't produce a whole lot of catches. If somebody would have sent me pictures of like uluas or papillos and stuff like that, I probably would be more excited about making them. But I tell you what, we didn't get a whole lot of catches. So we just said, you know what? Back burner. I forgot to mention, this is brand new on the website. This is a stainless steel sand spike. Stainless steel sand spike. I know some of you hammers out there, you're not into the collapsible sand spikes. You're not into the PVC. You want one hardcore sand spike. You don't even have faith in the aluminum sand spikes that we've been selling for nearly 15 years. If you are such a hammer that you just gotta have the most toughest, the strongest stainless steel, gotta be stainless steel, we now have stainless steel sand spikes on the website. This is made locally by Blind Mullet. And I gotta take off my glasses because I'm old. $70. $70. It's 33 inches long. It's got the perfect spacing for the butt cap for the Ulua pole. It's one shaka long. Okay? $70 MSRP. It is shippable. It's on the website. We do have them in stock. Brand new on the website under new products. All right. Somebody says, can throw a thorium 30 on a heavy nitro. Heavy nitro is rated 50 to 60 pound test, but everybody says a heavy nitro can handle 80, no problem. A thorium 30 is a 40 to 50 pound test reel. You can throw a thorium 30 on a heavy nitro if that's what you got. No problems on that one, okay? But ideally, the thorium 30 is probably going to be better suited for a medium heavy nitro, a medium heavy carnage, or say, for instance, a medium carnage. It's only rated 40 to 50 pound test on the reel. All right. What's your preferred knot for fluorocarbon to hook or swivel? I like the cinch knot, especially if I'm whipping. We're talking 10, 15, maybe 20 pound tests. I like the improved cinch knot. That's for tying off the hook on the leader. Okay. What's the best knot to tie line to reel? Arbor. A-R-B-O-R knot. Arbor knot. It helps you cinch it down on top of itself. And all you got to do is cut off the tag end. You get that nice flush knot right on the spool, which is also known as the arbor. Okay. In what instance, whipping or dunking, would you use a heavier leader than your main line? Most of the times I'm running a slightly heavier leader than my main line. So say, for instance, I'm running 40 pound test main line on either one of my spinners or one of my bait casting reels. I usually run 60 pounder up. If I'm throwing taco leg or something like that, a bigger profile bait, I usually run bigger hooks, and in that case I'm using 80 pound tests. On like 40 or 50 pound tests main line, I'm running 80. If I'm slide baiting, then you're getting into the 100 pound and up leader line. So that's usually when you want to use the heavier leader. Most of the times it should be at either the same as or heavier than your main line, your leader, when bait casting. Whipping, whole nother story, because I run like heavier pound test on my reel, like my Stratic FJ. I run I run 30 pound test main line, but I'll drop it down to like 8 pound test depending on what I'm fishing for. Whatever I'm targeting will decide on the leader. But with that 30 pound test, I know I can put the whole spool on the reel, but I use 8 for like 8 to 10 for Mimpachi, 10 to 15 for throwing grubs, going for papillo or whatever bites. And then when I'm throwing lures on the same rod, I'll probably run 20 to 25 pound tests. Let's see. Is there any demonstration out there for the shore casters knot? Rob, I apologize. I'm not even familiar with that knot. I don't know what it is. It might be just the same knot that a lot of people use. That might be a little bit different. I don't know if you're talking about the Hawaii standard, which is going to be the Bimini twist to the, not the Albright. What is it? It's not the Albright. I forgot what it's called. Albright knot. Bimini twist to Albright. That's probably the Shortcaster's knot. There's some great videos. You might have just been searching for the name of a knot that nobody, it's called the Bimini twist to Albright. That's the standard slide bait casting knot. Okay, what kind and size hook you like to use for dunk 4 eel? Benny Marr, 4 eel, size 14, 16, and probably up to 18. Size 14, 16, and 18. Once again, I'll repeat it just so everybody gets it in their heads. There is no one size hook rules them all. You should have an assortment of hook sizes in your tackle box. You should have everything. From me personally, I run BKNs. I've got size 14, 16, 18, and then I skip 20. I go to 22, and then I got some 26s. This is all because it depends on what the bait I get. Somebody drops off a 2-pound taco today. I wouldn't turn down a 2-pound taco, by the way. I wouldn't. If you guys want, if anybody on 2-pound taco still blinking, and you're in Evo Beach and you want to drop it off at the shop, I won't turn it down. I will not. If I'm throwing bigger taco legs, I want to go with the bigger hook. If all I get is Ika or shrimp, I'm going to go a smaller hook. So you should have an assortment of hook sizes, not just one magic hook. You're not going to skimp and just get away with one size hook. You should have an assortment of all different sizes of hooks. But for OEO specifically, 14, 16, and 18. What is the best size reel to use for medium heavy Ulua pole? Medium heavy Ulua pole, you're going to be looking for a 40 to 50 pound test reel. And some of the reels that are in that class are going to be the Jigmaster, the Sea Line, the Seagate, the Fathom 240, the Torium 30. Those are all 5 reels that match that line capacity. Somebody says, do we have any 3/8 eggs in stock? We should have 3/8 eggs in stock. Just check our website under egg lead. We do have 3/8 in stock. Okay, let me check and see if we got any other questions on 2013 Stella 14K, good condition and price, and good price. Would it be worth buying, or no can get parts if break? Kenford, I would say if you're looking for dependability and serviceability, I would probably stay away from that 7-year-old reel. I'm not sure if Shimano will still service it. I'm assuming it's going to be a no. So if you're concerned about like longevity and the reel lasting, I probably would not buy that reel unless it's the perfect size for you and you've had one in the past and you're very familiar with that reel and you maybe even know how to service it yourself. That's probably when you get into it. What's the difference between a heavy and a medium heavy nitro other than the pound test it can handle? The flex on it. The medium heavy is going to have a lot more whippiness and a little bit more castability on an 8-ounce sled. The heavy is a little bit stiffer. You're not going to get that further distance cast, but it is stronger and it's better for like slide baiting and stuff like that. Okay, Penn Carnage or Battalion spinning rod. Penn Carnage or Battalion spinning rod for Penn Battle 3 8K. Either or, but I personally like the price on the Penn Battalion 12 foot. If you got the money, the Carnage 12 foot, go for it. It's a much better blank than the Battalion, but it's almost going to have almost the same specs. It's just going to have a better blank and maybe a little bit lighter. I would probably, budget-wise, I like the Battalion over the Carnage. Is 65-pound test mainline too heavy on a Seagate 50 and heavy nitro? 65-pound test mainline, King. I'm worried that you're throwing braid on that reel because I've never really seen a 65-pound test mainline in monofilament. 65 probably, I would say it's going to be too strong for that reel. I would worry about just basically overpowering the reel. I think the lockdown drag on a Seagate's probably no more than 22-pound tests. I would probably recommend capping it off at about 50. But if all you got is a spool of 65 mono, run them. All right. Pros and cons for ugly stick big water rods. Pros. Tough as just hella tough. If you're hard on your rods and reels, you're always snapping rods, ugly stick. All right. Budget-wise, it's nice and friendly. Most of the rods are about $70. Tough as hell. With that acrylic tip, You rarely ever say, oh, I want to bust the tip on one ugly stick. You rarely hear people say that. Cons, it's a little bit too whippy. Guys are kind of preferring that more stiffer tip, that faster action, and you can probably get a little bit better distance with newer rods, something like, say for instance, the beef stick or the 12-foot battalion. That's probably going to be the cons for the ugly stick, is that the tip is kind of whippy, and it takes a little bit of a learning curve. If you're going from those newer style rods back to the old school ugly sticks, you got to learn to cast with that whippy rod. It's a different cast mechanic. Okay, what's the best Hallelujah Akuli reel? You know what, when you get into that lighter pound test stuff, I think that you can get by with cheaper spinning reels. I would say you don't have to necessarily have that Stella, that Stratic. You can get by with the lower end, say for instance, a Sedona, a Sienna, a Sahara, the lower end Shimanos, even something like a Crossfire, or like a lower end spinning reel. You can get by because the demands on Hallelujah fishing, it's not a whole lot of drag, and you don't have a deep line capacity, so it's just, I think you can get by with a cheaper reel. But if you really wanted to, I would probably cap it off at Stratic. I wouldn't go to a 1,000 size or a 2,500 size Stella unless you got the money and you really want to get it. I don't think you're going to appreciate what those reels can do at that smaller size, especially just for Hallelujah and Akuli fishing. Okay. And AJ and RJ wanted to say he's been coming to the shop, and he's always telling me he watches the videos. How you guys doing, RJ and AJ? Thank you guys for coming by. We appreciate your business, bro. Okay. Let's see what other questions. For small to medium game slide, if you don't want to crimp, what are your best knots from main line to stopper? Palomar knot. Palomar knot is one of those knots. It's 100% knot, meaning that the line will fail before your knot fails. You also get 2 line around the tackle that you're tying off to, whether it be a swivel or whether it be a slide bait stopper. I really like the Palomar knot when you're tying off to the to your slide bait stopper. All right, main line to stopper, stopper to lead, same thing, Palomar all around, but to the hook I recommend the Snell. What size circle hooks can you use for ulua and slide bait? Usually when you get into the slide bait category, you're probably going anywhere from a 14-0 up to an 18-0 Mustad circle hooks. Those are probably the sizes that are best for slide baiting. You don't want to go with a small hook on 200-pound test. You probably want to have something that's going to be better suited for whatever live bait you're using, or half taco or taco leg, whatever you're sliding down. A bigger size circle hooks are usually what you're going to use for slide bait. Okay. What are your thoughts on a Legalis LT 4000D? You know what? I don't have a whole lot of experience. Oh, wait. Is that pink box the Legalis? The fuchsia box? I guess nobody's out there right now. I'm not sure if that's the right one. I don't have a whole lot of experience with the smaller Daiwa reels. If you want to send me a DM on Instagram, I'll do my best to respond to your questions on it. But the ones that I was looking at, the new LTs, they're really nice. Okay, and I'm scrolling through and checking out if there's any more questions on Instagram. Pen Carnet, I think we already answered that one. And let's see. If my lure rating is 3/8 of an ounce, could I get away with casting half an ounce? Probably. If it's a half-ounce popper where you're going to have that resistance in the water, you might have some issues. But I say a half ounce, that 1/8 of an ounce more is not going to really damage your rod, all right? And a lot of times the rods are listed kind of underrated. You'll find that especially with the JDM rods like Major Craft, a lot of times they're underrated, meaning that it says you can only cast 12 grams, which is close to half an ounce, but you control 3/4 almost because the rod is so stiff. Do that at your own discretion. Don't give them every time you cast, especially if you're overloading your rod. Okay, what are the circle hooks? What size circle hooks can you use for a Ulua slide bait? I would probably recommend size 14 all the way up to size 18-0. 14-0, 16-0, 18-0. Those are probably the most popular hooks that people buy for slide baiting. Is the Speedmaster a good pole to learn plugging and jigging? Absolutely. The rod, the Speedmaster rod, I wish we could get them in. We're on the wait list for them. We check whether our distributors have them all the time. They just haven't been back in. But if you can get your hands on one, that 10 foot and the 10 foot, 11 foot, and the 12 foot are great off the shelf plugging rods. Jigging, maybe it might be a little too stocky for jigging. All right, let's check and see. Reel pairing for a Carnage 3 medium heavy 13 foot. Penn Carnage 3 medium heavy 13 foot. It's a 50 to 80 pound test rod. So you can kind of go either way. You can go with something like a Torium 30, a Fathom 40, even a Jigmaster as low as that. But you can also go as high as a Penn 4.0, whether it's the China made or the USA made Penn 4.0 or even a Torium 50. I wouldn't go, well, I guess you could go all the way up to 80 pound testing. You could use it for slide bait. So that medium heavy is actually the best of both worlds on the Penn Carnage 3 and also the Penn Battalion 2, which is the same, almost the same specs. But it really depends on what you want to do. If you want to bait cast, or actually say slide bait with the chance of bait cast, get that bigger reel. Get the Penn 4.0, get the Torium 50. Now, if you want a bait cast with a chance to slide, then you want to stick with those 40 to 50 pound class reels, the Jigmaster, the Sea-Line, the Seagate, the Torium 30, all those reels. Okay. What size hooks work best for light sliding? Light sliding, you probably want to stick with that 18, not 18, I'm sorry, size 18, size 20. Light sliding, you're using small bait fish or you're using a taco leg and things like that. This is the medium and light game slides that we sell on our website. Okay, what is my favorite fluorocarbon line? Like for whipping, I like J-Line. I've been leaning a little bit more towards Daiwa fluorocarbon. But then when it gets to like showing bigger lures or even fluorocarbon line that I use for my leader, I like the Yozuri HD Pink. I've been using it for over 10 years. It hasn't done me wrong. The only problem is sometimes it's kind of stiff and it doesn't knot that well when you get to the 50 and 60 pound tests. Jarrell is asking about the best reel for a Yamaha Blue Sniper 10,000 mH. Send me a DM on Facebook and I'll get you probably the best reel. I'm assuming it's going to be best reel for that one's probably going to be like a 5K. You already spent what? $600-700 on your rod. You might as well just get yourself a Stella, pair it up with a 5K Stella, maybe a twin power 5K, or if you blew all your money on the rod and you don't have that much left over, get yourself a Stratic 5K. What is the mill end lines used for? I'm not sure what that is, brother. Mill end. Does Companion Lures distribute to you guys? They do sell us lures. A little bit backed up lately, so we're waiting on our next order. Hopefully it'll be coming in the next month. All right, let's check and see what other questions we got on Instagram. What pound mainline, leader, and lead for Seagate 50? Depends on your rod, but for a Seagate 50 mainline, if you're just starting off, 40 pound test. If you already got them down, 50 pound test. Leader, anywhere between 50 up to 80 pound test. Leader, if you're targeting Olua, probably stick with that 50 pound test if you're targeting Oyo or Oyo or Papio. And then lead line, you want to do half to 2/3 of the leader. So if I recommend 50, you either go with 25 to 30 pound test for your lead line. Highly recommend the 27 pound test squid line from Mason that we sell on our website. All right, let's check and see. What's a good size reel for a beef stick? If it's a 12 foot, go with an 8K Penn. You can pick yourself up a Penn Raft 2 8K for about $70. It's a great pair with the beef stick. All right. Best pull to pair with bubble float and fly. For the big bubble float, when it's full of water, it's 1.9 ounces. All right. So usually with a rod, you want to get something that has a minimum 20 pound test braid. You can fit almost a 300 meter spool on it. Great reel for that would be 5K Shimano's. Whether you're on a budget, you can go with a Sedona. If you got the money, get yourself a Stratic. And then rod wise, you probably want to search for something that's anywhere probably in that 10 foot 6 range that can handle up to 2 ounces, or 1.75 like the old previous Tika salmon steelheads. All right, so look for a 9 foot to 10 foot 6 rod that can handle up to 2 ounces lure rating. Like I said, I was going to give you guys a lot of time today. We're right at 25 minutes. And if you enjoyed this past 25 minutes of me yapping about fishing, I please ask kindly that you leave a like. It helps us reach more people, and we get more people watching so we can answer more questions. We got 60 people on YouTube and Facebook, and we got another 23 people still watching on Instagram. What hooks can you use? I think we already answered that question 2 times. Okay, and let's see. Stiff rod that's rated up to 2 ounces. I think we got that one already. And okay, what's a better way to target a eel? Whip on the flats or dunk? Personal preference, man. Some people don't have the patience for throwing out the bait, letting it sit and wait. Other guys like to be a little more active. They like to do something. They like to go out on the flats and whip for them. Me personally, I like to dunk for a eel. Throw out a little Ika strip and wait for the bite. All right, let's see. Difference between the yellow and red J-line fluorocarbon. Okay, so I have found the difference between the red label J-line and Sakura is basically just the color. The yellow label is kind of like an introduction. It's a lower quality fluorocarbon line, and it still has the same breaking strength. It's just made with different materials. The red label and the pink are basically the same. They tie the same, they feel the same, and all that stuff. The yellow is going to be a little bit stiffer, but if you like the pink, go with the Sakura, which means pink in Japanese, from what I understand. All right. How do you send stars on here? No can on YouTube. Gotta be Facebook. All right, what's up, Ken? How you doing? And let's go ahead and check it all the way down on the bottom of Instagram. See what other questions we got here. How is the 13-foot Penn Battalion 2 for casting? From what I understand, there is no 13-foot battalion. Oh, if you're talking about the 13-foot Penn Battalion 2 Uluapul, it's basically a first-generation Penn Carnage, almost the same exact blank, same specs, same like gunmetal gray color. It feels like and looks just like the first-generation Penn Carnage Uluapuls, which were, when they first came out, everybody loved them, all right? And they do cast nicely, all right? What is the best budget conventional reel, Jig Master or the Penn 4.0? Price-wise for the sizes, cannot go wrong. They're about 2/3 the cost of most of the other reels. What size reel is best for the Speedmaster? If you have the 12-foot, get yourself an 8K reel, or say, for instance, a 14K Shimano style reel. Okay. Does Cream still make flies? He does, and I've been seeing his Instagram posts. It looks like he's got a batch prepping for us and hopefully be dropping off soon. We're talking about Cree flies, brought up from Evo Beach, one of our crew that comes around every once in a while. What hooks could you use for... I think we already answered that question. Camboy, I'm going to answer it one more time. You ready? 14-0, 16-0, 18-0 Mustad circle hooks. Those are the most popular sizes for slide bait fishing. All right, I'm going to block you if you ask the same question one more time. Okay, good reel for 12-foot medium Rockaway. 5K Shimano Spheros. That's great for the 12-foot medium Rockaway or the 12-foot medium heavy. Either one. Bigger profile reel than the 5K Stratic. It matches and balances a little bit better. You can spool it up with 30-pound test, which is close to the lure rating on the rod. For plugging, Speedmaster. What is the best Speedmaster surf spinning rod for plugging? A lot of guys like the 12-foot, but I think it's a little too stocky. I like the 11 and the 10. The 10 I think is rated up to 5 ounces, and the 11 is rated up to 5 ounces as well, which can handle most of those big stick baits and poppers that everybody wants. Okay. Okay, I'm all caught up on Instagram, right? On 30 HG or 40 HG for bait casting. 30. The 40 is a stunted 50. If you don't like the size of the 50 for 60 to 80 pound test, go with the 40. Like the 50 is just too big for your hands, go with the 40. Some guys like the 40 spooled with 60. That works out better. They get bigger hands. It works out better for them when they're bait casting. But if you get normal, regular size hands, the Torium 30 bait casting is probably the best bait casting reel you can buy, other than the more expensive Trinidad 30, which is almost the identical reel, just has better components. Okay, I gave you guys a full 30 minutes to make up for all the days that I've been shorting you because we've been doing auctions. So I'm going to cut it right here. I hope you guys do leave a like, especially if you watch the whole 30 minutes. We got 100 people watching, by the way. 30 people on Instagram, 71 on YouTube and Facebook. Please drop a like on the video. You can do it now or you can do it after the video post. It helps us reach more people. More better questions coming back in. Thank you guys for your time. Aloha.